plus years that I've playing guitar, having the goal of playing really fast, I have finally found what I like to call the secrets to playing really, really fast. I was pretty amazed when I found the method that kicked my speed in the rear. After trying so many different methods, and believe me, I tried them all. In the 20 plus years that I've playing guitar, having the goal of playing really fast, I have finally found what I like to call the secrets to playing really, really fast. I was pretty amazed when I found the method that kicked my speed in the rear. After trying so many different methods, and believe me, I tried them all. I've always been the kind of guy who could withstand the discipline to practice from morning till evening. And this of course helped my playing to some degree, but this still only plays a minor part in becoming a fast guitar player. What happened was during a practicing session that I would be warmed up after half an hour to 45 minutes, and I could keep a good high pace after this. After this I would become slower and slower because my muscles got tired. I was still persistent enough to stay with this method for quite some time because I did learn a very valuable lesson doing this, and that was that the repetitions would get me to my goal, but in a completely different way that I would have thought. So at some point I stopped and evaluated what I have mastered with this method, and there's no doubt that I was able to play a lot of the things that I dreamed of, but I was still missing something to be able to play fast alternate picking more than 20 minutes a day. I'm exaggerating, of course. I felt I was practicing so much and getting so little out of my time, which was very disappointing. So eventually I would change my approach and my fixed ideas on how to play fast alternate picking. What happened was very weird because I found that a more varied approach to practicing would eventually get me to the goals that I desired. I would continue practicing the alternate picking lessons so I could improve on the technique in itself, but I would not tire the muscles. So I was able to play fast alternate picking more than in the first few lessons. This was a great lesson for me. But then I learned something that was even as valuable as this. I discovered that I needed to add new material to my practicing schedule every 2 or 3 months. What happens is if you are practicing a piece of music, which is focusing on a specific technique, at some point you'll become numb to it and you'll stop improving in it. This is called the law of familiarity. This is where you need to introduce a new lesson to your practicing schedule to stay motivated and to keep improving. I just want to make it really clear that I strongly oppose against adding new material to your practicing schedule more often than this, because you most certainly will not have reached the desired speed in any of the pieces. This is also the time where you have to decide if you need to lose anything from your practicing schedule, because it's equally important to have a realistic practicing schedule so that you don't create a 2-hour practicing schedule which you can only keep in the weekends. It's much more efficient to create a practicing plan that you can stick to every single day, and this way will create the momentum to leverage your technique and speed. So to make it completely clear what to do to improve your speed instantly, you need to do the following. Start every day with 1 or 2 alternate picking lessons. Preferably 1 drill and 1 musical piece. The musical piece could be a classical piece like violin or flute, which really fits the guitar very well. The next thing you do is to practice a sweep picking lesson, but the main thing is that you divide your lessons up through the day, so you don't have one chunk of practicing time and then you don't touch the guitar for the rest of the day. So to be realistic, it could be in the morning before you go to work, and then when you get home from work you spend just a little time on for example, a sweep picking lesson or a legato lesson. I prefer also to end the day with an alternate picking lesson or or a piece of a solo or something that I'm practicing on, a new solo that I may be creating, or something that I'm learning from a band that I like or something, just so I keep the momentum of my playing all through the day. The secret is to have a varied practicing schedule, but with a specific outcome in mind, like playing fast alternate picking.
The alternate picking lesson is extremely simple, actually. It's obviously not the notes that makes it interesting. It's just the movement and drilling that movement that makes it very beneficial for your alternate picking. And it's obviously also some kind of a alteration of the Paul Gilbert lesson from Intense Rock, which I was a big admirer and user of when that first came out. And but I'm a bigger believer in making your own, creating your own touch to the licks and lessons and drills that you play. For some reason, I believe, for me anyway, they make more sense. And I enjoy practicing them more, but that's just me. Okay, so the actual notes that I play in this one is just I start on the D string and I play 17 and I play 18 and I play 20 on the D string. And I start with a downstroke, and this results in an upstroke on the G string on the 17th fret. So I play a variety of moving into the G string and then back again to 20, 18, 17 on the D string and then up again. And then also continuing into the G string, playing 17, 18, 20 and back again. And then the add-on, I like to call it, is that I then move into the A string. And this is also pretty cool, I think, because then I start that with an upstroke, you know. Like this. So this is what I would consider being an add-on. And actually it's a little silly, but in this lesson I have a tendency to play something that often ends up being a variety of 2 different scales actually, because I then move into the A string playing 20 and also 18, 17. Which is not, if I want to stay in one position, I should actually play 19, 20 on the G string. But since I only use it as a drill, I play whatever I want, and you can also shift around and try different scale positions. Something like that also. That's completely up to you. It's merely the mechanics that it's all about, and drilling those. So, and this is more importantly is that I would suggest that you start your day with this kind of drill. So this is the first thing you do in the morning, and many people say that they don't have time for that. They only need to get up, drink their coffee and go to work. But I just cannot stress enough the benefit you will get from maybe getting up half an hour early or something like that and drill through these lessons, because this will you will get the benefit from that all through the day when you get back home, for example. So if you do 2 alternate picking drills in the morning, this one and maybe you can add a sequence or something, as I mentioned before, a classical piece. I had a lot of fun using a lot of different Paganini violin pieces for and adding that to my vocabulary, or adding that to my lessons. And that really, but as I also explained in the introduction, is that at some point gets a little bit stale to do the same musical phrases for months and on end. And then I really suggest that you, after a few months, when you hit a speed where you really feel that this sounds awesome now, the piece sounds good now, then I would suggest that you choose a new one, because this will, as I also explained, you'll get the benefits from that in all your other lessons. So you will really, because you kind of get motivated again when you do this. And so you just need to find the balance in how often you do this, because it's also important that you don't do this too often, because you will never hit any goals if you are very quick to start on new material before you make any kind of progress on whatever you're working on. But the cool thing about those little drills, and where this could be one of them, is that they don't because they're not musical in any way. They are. I like to see some similarities between practicing drills on guitar with working out. You know, it would be I would say like running or doing push-ups or whatever. They're not really, especially something like push-ups and stuff like that. They're not very inspiring or anything, but you feel really good after you've done it, and it benefits your whole well-being and how you feel all through the day. So, so this would be the one that I suggest that you start your day with. And you can even do a little warm-up if you want to just go through scales without any metronome before you play this lesson, and it could just take a few minutes. And then the lesson, I would say, you should choose a tempo that is so slow that you don't feel that you are pushing any limits or anything. So as a suggestion, if you're really new to this, then maybe start at something around 50 beats per minute or something like that, and then increase the speed by between 5 and 8 BPM, or maybe even more. But you should be able to feel what tempo feels most natural, and don't take too big skips in the speed, so that you move in from 50 to 80, something like that, because that's you won't really get feel the benefits of the slow increasement in the speed if you do it that way, because then you'll move into a speed where you are immediately moving into a speed where you can really follow, and you start to do maybe pop outs and stuff like that in the notes. So be sure that you increase the speed slowly. So if you do this every day for about between 20 minutes to half an hour, then if you're going to work or to school, then when you come home, then spend 20 minutes to half an hour again with for example, the sweep picking arpeggio or another alternate picking lesson. But the main thing is that you keep it interesting, and you keep it varied, the lessons varied, so you don't only exclusively play alternate picking lessons, but you add sweep picking, legato, tapping, whatever. So you get a varied approach to your technique and to your lessons. The sweep picking lesson is a short little piece with a few different arpeggios. The first one is a D minor, and I play it twice. From the high E string, I start with my little finger and I start with an upstroke, pulling off from 17 to 13, moving into 15 on the B string with my ring finger, but you can use your long finger if that feels better. And then I use the ring finger. Then I use my long finger on the 14th fret G string, and my ring finger on the D string 15th fret, and the little finger on the A string 17th fret, and then the index finger on the 12th fret. And then when I reach the 12th fret on the A string, I hammer on back to the 17th, and then I play. Make sure, it's extremely crucial that you only choose one fingering for these sweep picking arpeggios. So if you want to use your long finger on the B, index finger on the G, long finger on the D, and then little and index finger on the A string, then be sure that you do that every time you play it. So just choose one fingering. So after that we move into a D major arpeggio, which is then starts from the same spot, pulling off from 17 to 14, on the high E string, and then I use my long finger on the 15th fret B string, index finger on the 14th fret G string, and then 16th fret on the D string with the ring finger, and the little finger again and index finger on 17, 12, and hammering on back again to the 17th on the A string here. And then after that I've done this twice. Then I play a G major arpeggio, which is again this with the little finger I play 19 pulling off to 15. And you can see I position my index finger so I have the ability of rolling between two strings. This is also a very beneficial technique to be comfortable with if you want to play sweep picking effectively. So then I move into the G string after 15 on the E and B string with the index finger, using the long finger here for the 16. And then I roll again. I use that rolling technique here with my ring finger on the D and A string, 17th fret, and then into the low E string with my little finger playing the 19th fret. So 19, 15, 15, 16, 17, 17, and 19. And this is all, by the way, this is all 6 tuplets. I played as 6 tuplets. That's the reason that I ended on the third here, as the third of the G, which is the B. Play that twice also, and then I play that, and then I play the diminished arpeggio. I move from 18 pulling off to 15 with the little finger and index finger again, and I use my long finger on the B string, 17th fret, my ring finger on the G string, 18th fret, then I use my little finger pulling off from 20 to the 17th fret on the D string, and I use my little finger and index finger, and then I use my long finger, but you can use your ring finger if that feels better, but I use my long finger on the 19th fret on the A string, and then moving back again, and then I just start it over again. Picking technique for this is up, and when I reach the final note I play a downstroke and do a hammer on, and when I play the final note on the high E string I play an upstroke and play a pull off. So a little rule you have for this, these kind of arpeggios, is pull offs in the top, hammer ons in the bottom. You do this twice. Also with the next, the technique is the same for all these arpeggios, except that I have the pull off on the D string instead of the A string in the diminished. Finally, I want to give you a legato lick. You can start it wherever you want, but it's in the first position of the major scale. And let's just go through all the notes. I play one picking stroke here on the G string, so pulling off with my little finger here from 15 to 13 and 12 on the G string, and then I do a hammer on the D string with a little finger pulling off to 13 and 12 also, and hammering on back again to 13, 15. Moving into the G string, 12th fret, and then I do this little sequence that I repeat again later. Then I hammer on to 13, 15, pulling off again, and when I'm back on the 12th fret I slide into the 10th fret, hammering on to 12 and 13, and then when I'm down to the 10th fret I slide back to the 12th, hammering on to 13, 15, pulling off again, sliding in from 12 to 13, hammering on to 15, 17, pulling off again, sliding back to 12, hammering on again to 13, 15, and then I move back again to the D string, hammering on to 15, 13, 12, pulling off. After I've pulled off those notes, I actually like to improvise a little bit with this, but in some situations I hammer on again to 13, 15 and pull them off, and then finally when I'm on 12 again I slide down to 10, hammer on to 12 and 13, pulling off those notes, and then I move into the A string, hammering on to 13, pulling off to 11, 12. And again, I hammer on, I pull off those notes, sliding into from 10 into 11, hammering on to 13, 15, pulling off again, sliding back again from 11 to 10, hammering on again to 11 and to 13, pulling off, and then slide down from 10 to 8, hammering on from 8 to 10 and 11, pulling off again, sliding in, hammering on to 11 and 13, and then I hammer on and move down to the low E string, hammering on to 13 and pulling off to 11, 10, and then from 10 I slide down to 8, hammering on to 10 and 11, pulling off again, and hammering on again. And then I do this little system when I ascend. I move into a new string, which in this case is the A string, with my index finger, 8th fret, hammering on to 10, 11, and I pull those notes off again. And then when I'm back to the original note, which I moved into, which in this case was the 8th, then I moved up, slide up to 10, hammering on again to 11, 13, and pulling those notes off again. And then I do the same. And by the way, I need to say that I used one picking stroke when I ascended it to the A string. Pulling off again from 13, 11 to 10, hammering on again to 13, to 11 and 13. And then again I play one picking stroke here on the D string, 10th fret. And then I hammer on to 12 and 13, pulling off again. And when I'm back to 10, I slide into 12, hammer on to 11 and 15, pulling those notes off and hammer them on again. And then I move into the G string, starting over again. So I actually only play 3 picking strokes in this complete lesson. One where I start, and then one on the A string when I ascend, and one on the D string when I ascend. And actually, well, I can't start over with a picking stroke again. I really hope that you enjoyed these lessons, and I hope that you will start really taking your guitar playing very serious and start to make a practicing schedule that you can follow every day, and also one that is realistic enough so you can follow it every day without you just can't manage getting through the practicing session. So it's much better to have one that maybe is 45 minutes or something like that you know you can keep every day, because if you think it's important enough, then for sure you can find 45 minutes to maybe 60 minutes a day spread out over the day. And then the key is to stay motivated, is to find new material every once in a while, and for example something like every 2 or 3 months, to introduce and to keep the motivation up and keep the practicing fun, so that you are ready to shred when you play with your band or to a jam track or whatever.